From the first day, our vision was to create something which is more than just a building, right? And it is the idea was to try and create what we called a sort of a timeless living experience. Well, I am the second generation promoter of Agami Realty. Agami was started by my father almost 50 years ago now. Besides Agami Realty, I also have a passion for clean tech and sustainability. So I'm the co-founder of some clean tech companies where also I'm actively involved. So Agami Eternity is a very special project for us because it was first foray for us into the heart of Mumbai's Kalanagar micro market and the first foray into premium real estate offering. Prior to this, we were primarily focused on affordable housing in the outskirts of Mumbai city. So, from the first day, our vision was to create something which is more than just a building. The idea was to try and create what we called a sort of a timeless living experience, right? So that was the idea behind the first project. Collaborating with Reza, of course, has been phenomenal. He understood what the vision was for the project. He and his team actually, and they largely have been able to capture the ideas and some of the key attributes that we wanted in terms of design philosophy, in terms of space for the project, and they have done a great job of really planning. Our customers love the project, the way it has come out, the layouts of apartments and so on. So it has been great working with them. Has been a very rewarding journey so far. This area and the micro market is called Kalanagar. This is the first original art residency of Mumbai, right? Which was basically because of land allocated to artists in about 50-60 years ago. So that's how the name Kalanagar came to be. What we thought was we should do something that sort of respects the spirit of the community. I think in terms of architecture and design, this is a concept that you see frequently in Europe and Western countries, in many of the cities where there is the design and of different neighborhoods actually reflects some of the history and the cultural roots of that particular community, right? So we wanted to bring that concept here to this Kalanagar micro market. So Kala, of course, is art. And that's how the first thinking around embedding art in the building, what we thought was rather than just take the fact and put some pieces of art there, we wanted to really leverage art for what it can accomplish, right? So that is how the thinking was that we should put art in all the spaces where the spaces, basically become more alive, right, because of the art in those spaces. The thing about art, of course, is that we genuinely feel that when there is art in a space, the art truly elevates that space, right? And what we feel is that being a resident in this building or in this community will become special, right? Because when a resident sort of walks into the building, they will be experiencing something that they will notice, they will want to reflect on, and hopefully it will change and elevate the mood as they walk into the space, right? Coming from outside, it sort of creates microcosm, which is helps them sort of let go of all the challenges of living in a fast-paced city, and change sort of their mood as they walk into the space. So we wanted to create an iconic sculpture that reflects the concept of sort of eternity, right, and the meaning of eternity itself. Basically, the concept or the idea of eternity is something that's personally, very close to my heart. So the thinking was that, we should try and create a sculpture that embodies some of the meaning. And one thought process was, to effectively think about what eternity means or eternal means to humanity, right? And if you look at people or humanity in general, right, we all long to have, to be eternal, never die, right? So that whole concept of eternity or infinity, which is sort of timeless, is sort of this very alluring concept, right, that every human being aspires towards. So the sculpture basically, which I won't go into too much detail because we like to keep the thing secret until we unveil this, but the idea is about reflecting the human longing for eternity, but at the same time reflecting the fact that what is truly eternal as far as humanity is concerned is really love, right? Love is what is eternal, right? Essentially, the body is mortal, so that will be shed at some point in time. So that is what the sculpture really tries to embody, this quest of, human quest for, eternity, the desire for something being eternal. But then, sort of reflecting the fact that what is really eternal is really love. So that's the concept. And Arzan actually, we approached him. He's, one of the most reputed sculptors here, and we explained this vision to him, and he's done a phenomenal job of really ideating on how to create a 3D piece or 3D sculpture that reflects this in all its essence. So it has been great, I think, working with Arzan, and I'm very excited to really for the day when we actually unveil the sculpture. And I think it will be something that will become a talking point and something that people will want to see and experience. Again, the idea was it comes from the fact of communal art, right, which is sort of something you see in Europe, right, in European cities especially, and maybe even American cities. So the thought was not to keep this limited to just the residents. So what we have done is, this is a sculpture which is right at the entrance, and it is a 15-foot sculpture, so it will have a very strong presence. And we are basically using a glass wall, right, which of course provides the privacy for the society residents and protection, but at the same time the glass wall will ensure that anybody outside who's passing on the road or walking by on the footpath will be able to actually see and experience the sculpture. Agami, the idea really was basically using the Sanskrit meaning of that. So what we try to do is try and embed whatever technology we can, whatever sustainability we can, right? This is what we believe is important already and going to become even more important in the future. So one example is, we are actually creating very interesting or implementing a very interesting energy monitoring solution where every resident will be able to track and monitor their consumption at every minute level, and also be able to track which appliances are consuming this energy, which creates greater awareness on a day-to-day basis for them, and hopefully that enables them to take actions that will improve and reduce wasteful energy consumption, right? So that's the idea. So this is just one example of what we are doing, and then of course we are also always try to embed features in terms of low flow fittings for water conservation and so on. I really want the residents to feel and really look forward to walking into this space, because as I said, this is this idea for us is to try and get them to change gears, right? At Agami, we also talk about the whole concept of slow living and enabling slow living, right? So, and paintings are art actually is one of those things that requires you to slow down for true appreciation. You need to stop, look at it, reflect on what it really means, So it's like changing gears. So when people walk into the space, we want them to sort of, want the art and all the other amenities. So we have, of course, provided for all the spaces, all the relevant features, right, in the building. That will really, make the residents want to get back, not just to their individual homes, but to everything else that Eternity has to offer.